Hello, everyone. I'm Tracy Derwin, and I'm here with Shane Buell. In today's video, we're going to be going over the tornadoes that swept over the Great Plains from May 19th and on. We did a previous video, so if you want to see more information about those, I'll link that at the end screen as well as the description. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed yet, please remember to do so before you leave. Also, like, comment, and share this video. That way, more people will be alerted about this video, and so we could spread the word about what's going on, because a lot of this stuff is not covered in the mainstream media. Just really briefly, this is a quick map of the warnings and the huge outbreak that we saw about a week ago. And here is the list of the tornadoes that we will be discussing, the ones in orange, and the ratings are right here. So I'll let you, Shane, take over.
All right. So between May 19th and now, there was over 300 tornado warnings out of those 1,600 severe thunderstorm warnings that you saw. And out of these tornadoes that started on the 18th, I'm going to be covering these in the orange, which were the EF3s. And I'm also going to cover 2 of the EF2 tornadoes, one of which you see here as the Arnett, Oklahoma tornado. And we have some footage of that comes from Andre Worley. I think that's a very appropriate name for a storm chaser to have the last name of Worley. But yeah, he captured some footage of a tornado in Arnett, Oklahoma, and we're going to show it now. So what you see here is a supercell, which is a discrete supercell. It's all by itself on an otherwise nice sunny day, but you can see there is some rotation to it. There is some counterclockwise rotation. And then this is just now forming. He captures this in its formation stages. So this tornado only lasted about 10 minutes, and I've cut it down to about a minute here so that you can see all the different stages. So here is where it's kicking up debris. This is a debris cloud being kicked up off of the ground as the funnel condenses and touches down. This is a close-up of the funnel as it travels across the ground, kicking up debris. But what really struck me was how kind of a gentle giant this tornado was. Yes, it was a violent EF2 tornado, but it happened on a calm, sunny day with only one cloud basically in the local sky. And here you see it roping out. This is called occlusion, is when the tornado is winding down and it occludes or ropes out. And you can see just how quickly and dramatically the tornado not only starts, but how quickly it actually finishes as well. So that was a rather photogenic tornado that came to us from Andre Worley, the storm chaser. So go check him out on YouTube. All right, so that was the Arnett, Oklahoma tornado. And the next series of tornadoes that I want to cover happened in Kansas. So the next one I'm going to cover is the Grenell, Kansas tornado. This was an EF3 that was rated at 140 miles an hour. And you can see the path goes mainly from south to north, and it passes right through the town of Grenell. We do have one photo of this, which comes from Clinton H. Hendricks IV. And I don't have any video of this. There was a lot of videos, a lot of storm chasers on these storms, but most of their videos are copyrighted. So it's hard to find some footage that we can actually show you. This tornado actually did hit some houses, and you can see that it took away some of the exterior walls. But what really sticks out to me is the damage it did to the sidewalk. It lifted up not one, but 2 sections of sidewalk, leaving one behind and removing the other one completely. So according to the National Weather Service, this is the kind of damage that you would see at 140 miles an hour. It could possibly have been higher than that, but I'd mostly agree with the National Weather Service on these ratings. Here's another picture of the widespread damage that was done in Grenell. And ironically, it shows one of their tornado sirens in the foreground. The reason I say ironically is because this town also had a tornado siren malfunction. Sheriff Mesh said that the sirens were tested twice daily, Monday through Friday, once at noon and again at 6. But he said the sirens never malfunctioned until the storm hit. So just like in St. Louis, we saw tornado sirens that were working until there was actually a storm, and then they didn't work. So to me, that's a little bit suspicious. All right. So the next tornado that I want to cover is in Stratton, Nebraska. This was also another EF3, also rated at 140 miles per hour. It also had a south to north path, and it started just north of the town of Stratton. I do actually have some video of this one, And I will show it here. This actually comes from John William Potoff, who shared this on his Facebook page. So he is a local resident of Stratton, Nebraska, who captured this from his home and shared it to his own Facebook page. And so there's no copyright, and I can freely show this to you guys. So you can see the tornado in the distance. It's rather wide. I believe it was about a half-mile wide at this point. And you can see how gusty it is. Every now and then, right there, you'll see a gust that comes by and actually goes towards the tornado. I do believe this area to be in the inflow notch of the tornado. So on one side of the tornado, you're going to have an inflow, and on the other side, you're going to have outflow.
It looked like that was sped up, right? The footage.
Yes, I do believe that was a time-lapse video that was sped up. Yes. So it didn't give an accurate feel for the gustiness of the winds, but yeah, you could definitely see the tornado in that picture. Okay, so some of the damage that was done in Stratton was this metal building, which was pulled up from not only the foundation, but it was bolted down. Here's another section of the wall where you can see that the metal pieces were pulled away, and these were actually anchor bolted into a concrete foundation. Now, the reason I think this only received 140 mile per hour rating is probably due to the thickness of the gauge of aluminum or galvanized steel, whatever this is. It's not necessarily full strength steel. So I believe that what happened is the metal itself came apart as it pulled away from the bolts. Okay, so once again, in this Stratton tornado, there was a resident who was just downwind of the track of this tornado in North Platte. So this was within the polygon warning area, and they would have been in the track had the tornado continued. And they said, it looks horrible out here in North Platte. Our phone says tornado warning, but the sirens are not sounding. So once again, in North Platte, which is very near Stratton, they did not receive a tornado warning. And then I also found a comment as well that said, still no sirens in the Granbury area. So there was also a tornado in Texas, which was a much weaker tornado, but that one also received no warning whatsoever. So we're starting to see a pattern here. All right. So then the next series of tornadoes I want to go through is what they call a tornado swarm, or I prefer to call it a tornado series, because these are a series of tornadoes that all happen one after another, basically all right in a row. So they count this as like 6 separate tornadoes, even though it was all produced by the same storm cell. So the first couple of tornadoes happened in the Mullinville and Greensburg area. And then the next one happened in the Collison Pratt area. And then the last track of that tornado was the one that struck Plevna, Kansas. So in Mullinsville, it did this kind of damage to a metal building. And this is what earned it a 155 mile per hour rating. And it's because this is actually very thick steel beams that were on here. You can see these steel beams were actually bent, and these are I-beams. Now, this may be a half to a quarter inch steel, but it was still completely bent. And they also have some debarking of trees as well. This tree debarking received 145 mile an hour rating, although it's very minimal debarking. We will see another tree that has more debarking, but it received a lower rating for some reason. Okay, so then the next leg of this tornado swarm happened in Collison Pratt. This was an EF3 that was rated at 160 miles an hour. And so you can see there is some debarking here. This tree was only rated at 140 miles an hour. So that's the kind of debarking that would be consistent with 140 mile an hour wind. There was also another metal building, which was destroyed here in Collison. And this is the structure that received the 160 mile an hour rating on this tornado. And here's another view of the metal beams for that structure. All right, now the next tornado that we're going to cover is the tornado that went through Plevna, Kansas. And this was a 32-mile long track, and it was a mile-wide tornado that was on the ground for over an hour. And there's not a lot of video of it. We do have some photos that were taken during the lightning flashes so that it could be well illuminated. But I do have one video that I want to show, which was taken by a storm chaser named Tornado Pagey. And this is a video of the Plevna tornado as it occurred.
This tornado is about to hit the town of Plevna. Plevna, Kansas is about to take a direct hit from this tornado. It is a wedge that's moving to the town. You need to be underground if you can. Gate-to-gate shears at 220 miles per hour on the latest scan. The gate-to-gate shears at 220 miles per hour on the latest scan. my goodness, they are close to this.
Like,
Oh my god, it's on the right there. It's still huge. Literally right in front of them.
that just got more info.
It's huge. It's still, it's like 2 miles wide right now.
All right. And once again, that video was taken by Tornado Pagey. So go give them a sub on YouTube.
And I just wanted to mention those were at night. That one came through at night, and that's why it's hard to see, except for when the lightning flashes. And in general, they tend to happen more during the day because of the temperature and the climate. But we have been seeing a lot of nighttime, like in the middle of the night, tornadoes.
Yeah, the warmer it is at night, the more likely you are to have a nocturnal tornado, which can be very dangerous because you can't usually see it. A couple of things I wanted to point out that we heard in that video was the gate-to-gate shear. So sometimes when you have a velocity couplet on radar, you can measure the difference between one side of the tornado and the other side of the tornado to estimate the approximate winds. The gate-to-gate shear for the Plevna, Kansas tornado was 220 miles per hour, but as we saw, that didn't necessarily translate to the wind speeds on the ground. And another thing I wanted to point out is that, yeah, you can only necessarily see these when the lightning strikes. And so, yeah, that's why it's so hard to chase a tornado at night.
Yeah, did they sound the sirens for the Plevna one? Do you know?
Plevna did actually receive sirens. Yes, they did.
Okay.
Okay. So now I have another video that I want to show, and this is from JJack Storm Tracks. We do follow a lot of storm chasers on here, and I do appreciate storm chasers. They are a much needed service because we can't always rely on the National Weather Service, but occasionally storm chasers are sometimes also first responders. And I want to show this video here from JJack Storm Track.
This house got hit. Oh, the trees are just shredded. Oh my God. Powerful tornado. Oh my God, it's destroyed. This house is destroyed.
All right, so that was JJack Storm Tracks. Go give him a sub on YouTube. And I just wanted to point out that a lot of times, you know, these storm chasers are also first responders. So it's good to have them around. Okay, so now the Plevna tornado did receive a lot of damage. This was a metal building and a truck that was tipped over. And this received 155 mile an hour rating from the National Weather Service. There was also a home that was swept partially off its foundation. But when we look closer, we can see that the foundation, the walls themselves were actually only toe-nailed into the foundation itself, or the sill plates itself. So there were no anchor bolts here. And so that's why it only received 145 mile an hour rating. As far as I know, there were no houses in Plevna, Kansas that were struck that actually had anchor bolts. So there weren't really any well-built homes on which to base the storm damage. Okay, so that was everything that happened kind of over that weekend. But then there was also more storms that were coming on May 20th. And this is the May 20th outlook, which was actually posted the day before on May 19th. And it shows the hatched area in the yellow with the dotted lines as being the highest area for tornado risk. And it did actually attract a lot of storm chasers that day. And we did get some good footage from this tornado. So there was a Madison Huntsville EF2 tornado, which was rated at 125 miles an hour. And there was a lot of storm chasers on this one. We actually do have a photo of the storm here. This was well after it formed, because as it was forming, it was kind of uncondensed and it was like multiple vortex at some points. We do have some video of this from storm chaser Brad Arnold, who we're going to go ahead and show now.
So I'm going to stop the loop.
There it is. Tornado on the ground right there. Headed into Madison, Alabama. Damaging tornado, throwing debris in the air.
Right towards James Clemens High School.
Throwing debris in the air.
Seeking shelter right now in the city of Madison, especially as you get south of Highway 72.
There it goes.
Magnolia Springs subdivision just to the south. This is going to be very, very close here. And it looks like the city of Madison may take
right there, everybody. There it goes. This thing's gonna get big. Large debris getting thrown in the air. Large debris.
There's a Mooresville Road. There's a bunch of new subdivisions out here too.
Large debris. Oh my goodness.
Humphrey Road here.
Oh God.
Many of you taking some of these by a detour.
Oh geez, it's getting violent.
Going on the west side of Madison with that new.
We got to keep going.
Roundabout going in.
Hang on, guys.
Seegers Road. Numerous subdivisions out here in and around James Clemens High School. You need to see.
It's gonna cross right in front of us. Where's my phone? Horizontal vortices! Horizontal vortices! It's gonna go right in front of us. Here it comes. We're gonna get up in it. Large debris getting thrown in the air. This thing's gonna get huge. Tornado crossing the highway right now in front of us. It's gonna hit those cars. Power flashes. Power flashes. Multi-vortex. Multi-vortex. Debris falling from the sky right here. Multi-vortex right in front of me. Oh my God. Oh my God, please no. Stop, don't drive. God, you're gonna drive right into it. It's coming down right in front of me. Do not drive, man. All right, here it is. Here's the debris field. There it is, right here. Huge tornado right now. It's throwing trees in the air. Oh, dear God.
All right. And that was storm chaser Brad Arnold, who captured the beginning of the Tanner Madison, Alabama tornado.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite pieces of footage because he explains what he's seeing. And I didn't know that, you know, these had multi vortices and horizontal vortices and his passion. And, you know, I know these are like serious storms and a lot of damage and people lose their lives. But I just find that I really like that because of his passion and how he says, stop, don't drive. And then, you know, he's driving right to it. And then you also see Reed Timmer's Dominator on the right. If you guys want to reverse, there is a Reed Timmer's special Dominator 3, I think, is on the right. And that happens right after that was hit by the tornado. I don't think we're going to play it today. Are we going to play the one where he gets spun around?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Are we going to play it now? That's one of my favorite ones too.
Sure, we can. I was just going to comment real quickly on the multiple vortices that we saw there. The Plevna tornadoes actually also did have multiple vortices, but it was at night. And so it was hard to get good footage of those. And those who did get good footage have it copyrighted. So we just can't show that to you today. But what we can show you is the video from Reed Timmer. Reed Timmer is also a storm chaser that we follow. And we recommend going to his channel and giving him a sub as well. But here is his interaction with that tornado.
Yep. Power flashes. Big power flashes. Yeah. Get past these power lines. All right, we live, right? Yep. Yeah, we're live. Right into it. Where are you going? Look straight ahead. House going. House going. Stay on it. All right, I'm launching. Shoot it. Shooting. Here, head it back to me. Yep. Oh. Oh, yeah. Stop. Holy crap! Four-wheel drive! Four-wheel drive. I can't drive! Four-wheel! I can't help!
Give me that.
Here. Oh, yeah. It's not. Get into gear. Yes. We're spinning. We're spinning. We're in the mud. We're in the mud. We're in the ditch. Four high. We got spun around.
And you can also see the other guy's car filming as the Dominator's filming too. And he shoots a probe into the tornado, and they get measurements and like height and speed and stuff. So you can go to his channel and get the information there. So yeah, those are my two favorite pieces of footage we got. And because this one crossed the freeway or the highway, I think is why we got so much storm chasers getting that kind of footage. All right, so I'm going to have you go into the technology or the satellite imagery that was caught right before, or I guess while these were forming. So I'm going to have Shane show those things. I thought this was very interesting too.
Okay. Do you want me to show the patent before or after we go through this?
Let's show the footage of the satellites first, and then that.
Okay. All right. So we have some satellite footage that I captured. This is from May 19th, and this is over Texas and Oklahoma. And you can see what looks like gravity waves, again, which used to be a really rare meteorological phenomenon, but they tend to show up every time there's a wind event nowadays. Now, this was during the May 19th tornado outbreak, and there was actually tornadoes going on in Texas and Oklahoma at this time. We did show you the Arnett, Oklahoma tornado, which actually came from a storm system that started in Texas and moved into Oklahoma. As we see here, there's gravity waves present all throughout this area where the tornadoes were occurring. And then I also switched to the radar just to see what was going on. And you can see that there are some beams that are being beamformed out of the transmitters directly into the storms. And I do stop it right here at the end where you can see one beam that's being formed directly into the storms themselves right there. So yeah, that is most likely to me for the purpose of ionospheric heating. So if you beam form a narrow beam like that into a storm, it's going to transmit energy to the storm. And if the storm receives some of that energy, you could actually translate it into convective potential. So it will increase the convective available potential energy for these mesocyclones. So anyway, yeah, that was very interesting to me. And I saw that on May 19th, not only during the tornadoes, but around the area where the tornadoes were occurring. I do have another video that I took. This is also from May 19th. This is from the Ventusky or Ventusky app. I do recommend College of DuPage radar and Ventusky and windy.com for catching these things. But I'm going to show this one more time. So what you see here is in the area of North Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, you see gravity waves all over the place as a tornado breaks out in Oklahoma. And then as it gets nighttime, you can see in the blue, there's more gravity waves as the Plevna tornado broke out. That was the Plevna tornado that we saw there at the end of that clip. All right. So then on College of DuPage, I started to look to see if I could find these waves that show up, because normally we only see them visually in the clouds, but sometimes you can see them where there's no clouds at, and that's in the water vapor images. So this is the mid-level water vapor imagery from the GOES East satellite on College of DuPage. And what you can see here is in the area around this tornado, this is the Plevna tornado that you see here in Kansas, and it was surrounded by more of those gravity waves that show up in the water vapor. That wasn't the best image, but I do have another one from more recently. This is from, I think, the night before last, while there was tornadoes in New Mexico, Texas, and again in Oklahoma. And in the yellow and blue here, you can see surrounding these tornadoes are gravity waves, those wavy lines that look like mini blinds or like a fishbone pattern. So once again, we've seen in the proximity of these tornadoes that they are surrounded by gravity waves. And I thought that to be very interesting because we have seen that kind of pattern before. I first noticed it during the Maui fire. So on the day of the Maui fire, the day before and the day of, the clouds that were coming into Maui were all lined up in parallel lines like that. And those are technically called gravity waves. And meteorologists say that they're formed by mountains or formed by wind blowing over the mountains. But out there in the middle of the ocean, there is no mountain ranges to produce those gravity waves. So they must have a different origin. So I think they look a lot like interference patterns. And so one type of interference pattern that you can have comes from a phased array. So this is called a plane wave, which is being formed by the interference pattern from a phased array of antenna elements. So, 5G is this type of phased array technology, as well as NexRad. NexRad is also phased array technology. So phased arrays can produce those kind of patterns, and it looked very interesting to me. So, it does remind me of something else that I can show you here, which is a patent for a hurricane and tornado control device. So now this patent actually claims to use sound waves, which are generated at a frequency to affect the formation of a weather system in a manner to disrupt, enhance, or direct the formation. The sound waves can also be projected in a manner to cause the system to produce rain. All right. And on the right side of this graphic, you can see how they're directing the energy waves or sound waves at the right sides of the tornado. This is to give it a cyclonic or a counterclockwise spin, which is the natural way that tornadoes would spin in the northern hemisphere. Only 2% of tornadoes are actually anticyclonic in the northern hemisphere. But yeah, what you see here is them directing sound waves at the right side of the tornado, which would actually strengthen it. So, there is a patent that exists that uses sound waves to alter hurricanes and tornadoes. And if they were using such a patent, I think it would look a lot like it already does when you have gravity waves that are surrounding these tornadoes like they do. So if they were doing weather modification, it would look a lot like it already does.
All right. And then can we just close this out with the sirens? Is that the last topic about how the sirens didn't work?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's what.
Go over that?
Sure. So if you remember correctly, the St. Louis tornado had an issue with the sirens not sounding. And then we just showed you two more tornadoes, the Grenell, Stratton, and Granbury areas also had tornadoes with no warnings. And so it seems to me that, there might be some aspect of intentionality to that. So I want to play a video that actually goes over the St. Louis sirens.
So you got the tornado warning. I think that it said it goes till 2:35. Okay. The one that we just got is 15:15. 2:15. Got it. Okay. You got the sirens. Yes, ma'am.
So what happened? Sarah Russell instructed the fire department to hit the sirens as the protocol specifies, and they didn't get hit. But here's the kicker. The sirens don't even work anyway, or at least the button to engage them doesn't, or maybe both. Who knows?
We learned that there were further issues. The button at the fire department was not working as it should have been. So regardless of that directive, that alarm system was not working in the way it should have been.
During a test Wednesday afternoon, it became clear that not all the sirens even work.
Before, the system was that the SEMA commissioner tells the fire department to hit the button to sound the sirens, but that was a bad system, apparently. So now the new system is the fire department just hits the button themselves. Okay, but that's the same thing, just removing one link in the chain. But that link wasn't even broken, actually. This new reform still relies on the same person who didn't press the button that doesn't even work anyway. The problem is, even if Sarah Russell was removed from the situation last week, the sirens still would not have activated, and the result would be the same. But hey, at least it'll be more efficient government failure next time.
So with those, because I looked into the sirens not working during the Lahaina fire, I think it's just, I don't think there was someone that made this decision, not to sound them. I think it's just that there was no leadership in putting down, in order for things to move smoothly, there has to be someone at the top. And I know this happens in the corporate environment, in the public sector. They have to really kind of lay the rules down and make sure everything is going as planned. And it doesn't seem like in a lot of these disasters, there's really strong leadership and planning. A lot of these times, the people that are in charge of this are off site, they're doing something else. And, I don't think it's like someone had the foresight to make sure all these things happen. I think it's just there is no leadership and there is no importance put on trying to save people. Like that is not even something that, whoever is in charge, if it's FEMA or whoever is at the top of the emergency management department, there just is no leadership, and then things go wrong, and then there's this blame game. I really think that's what's going on. That's my opinion.
Well, I think it's beyond coincidence that the emergency managers were once again away at a workshop and unable to sound the alarm, just like on Maui.
But see, they would need to know back when they scheduled that, like exactly when the tornado was going to come through. They would have to know, I don't know, weeks in advance, right? Like you don't just say, oh, you're going to a meeting tomorrow. It's usually, you usually have to plan for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, how specifically do you think they can have a tornado hit a town? If you had to guess.
That's a good question. I would say, if technology is as far advanced as it is in other disciplines, as we've seen, we've studied a lot of, technology that's involved in controlling the weather. So if this technology is just as far advanced, and I do believe that it is, if we're to believe what they say in, weather as a force multiplier, owning the weather by 2025, their roadmap puts them at that kind of capability by 2025. And that's where we're at today. So I would say, yes.
I think what they do is they make these plans and they're like, okay, well, this person's not here. Mayor's out of town. All right. It looks like a good time to send something. I think that's probably the course of events, right? Like in Maui, they're like, okay, well, the governor's out of town, the fire chief's out of town, FEMA's doing something on Oahu,
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors involved, and for them to all happen at the same time would be the kind of perfect storm that I think just doesn't happen by accident without some sort of help.
So I think the storm is the last thing to kick off.
Maybe.
If I had to if I had to plan these things, I would say like they find the perfect storm for something to not go well, and that's when they set that off or they send it or whatever. Because it seems like a tornado can be generated very fast and very specifically, from what I can see.
It seems like, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah, like how is this going to be handled? The worst possible, like what's the worst possible scenario for time for this thing to hit the town? All right, let's get that started. If I had to guess,
yeah,
but, we might never know. All right, so is that gonna?
Yeah, that's basically everything.
All right, so thank you, Shane, so much for digging up all this information. If you haven't seen our previous tornado video, I'm really proud of that one. I got a lot of great feedback because Shane does explain the tornado formation and things like that. So please go check that out, and we'll put it at the end screen right now and in the description. And thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.